Every second of life, you are under attack. Billions of bacteria, viruses, and fungi are trying to make you their home. So, our bodies have developed a super complex little army with guards, soldiers, intelligence, weapons, factors, and communicators to protect you from, well, dying. For this video, let's assume the immune system has 12 different jobs, for example, kill enemies, communicate, etc. And it has 21 different cells and 2 protein forces. The cells have up to 4 different jobs. Let's assign them. Here are the interfactors. Now let's make this understandable. First of all, let's add colors to the jobs. Now let's infiltrate the cells. The central color represents the main job of the cell, while the surrounding ones represent secondary duties. Now the immune system looks like this. Now, the interactions. Is not this completely just awesome? For this video, we will only talk about these cells and ignore the rest. It's a beautiful day when suddenly a wild rust nail appears and you cut yourself. The first barrier of the immune system is breached, your skin. The bacteria seize on the opportunity and enter your own. They start using up your body's resources and double the numbers after every 20 minutes. At first, they fly under the radar, but when a certain bacteria population is reached, they change their behavior and start to damage our body by changing the environment around them. The immune system has to stop them as fast as possible. First of all, your guard cells, known as microchurches, intervenes. They are huge cells that guard every border region of the body. Most of the time, they alone can suffocate an attack because they can devour up to 100 intruders each. They swallow the intruder whole and trap it inside a membrane. Then the enemy gets broken down by the enzymes and is killed. On the top of that, they cause inflammation by ordering the blood vessels to release water into the damaged for fighting becomes easier. You notice this as a very mild swelling. When the macrophages fight for too long, they can heavy backup by releasing messenger proteins that communicate location and urgency. Neutrophils leave the parental routines in the blood and move to the battlefield. The neutrophils fight so furiously that they can kill healthy cells in the process. On top of that, they generate barriers that trap and kill the bacteria. They are indeed so deadly that the beloved commit suicide after the 5 days to prevent from the causing too much damage. It is just enough to stop the invasion. The brain of the immune system kicks in. The dendritic cells get active. It reacts to the signals of the soldiers and starts cumulative samples from the enemies. They rip into pieces and present the parts on their oath. Now the dendritic cells make a crucial decision. Should they call the antivirus forces that infiltrate the infected body cells? Or an army of bacteria killers? In this case, antibacterial forces are necessary. In the travels, the closest lymph node in about a day, there are billions of helper and killer T cells are waiting to be activated. When T cells are born, they go through a different and complicated training process. and only a quarter survives. The surviving cells are equipped with a specific setup, and the dendritic cells on the way is looking for a helper T cell with the setup that's just right. It's looking for a helper T cell that can blend with the parts of the intruders which the brain cells had presented on the membrane. When it finally finds one, a chain reaction takes place. The helper T cell is activated. It quickly duplicates 1000 in times. Some become memory T cells that stay the lymph node and will make a permanent immune against the enemy. Some travel to the field of battle to help out. And the third group goes on to travel to the center of the lymph node to activate a very powerful weapon factory. Like the T cells, they are born with a specific setup. And when a B cell and T cell with the same setup meet, hell breaks loose. The B cell duplicates rapidly and starts producing millions of little weapons. They work so hard that they will literally die from the exhaustion very first. Here, helper T cells play another important role. They stimulate the hard-working factors and tell them, "Don't die yet, we still need you. Keep going." This also stresses that factors did if the infection is over, so the body doesn't waste the energy or hurt itself. But what is produced by the B cells? We've heard of them, of course, antibodies. Little proteins that are engineered to blind the surface of the specific intruder. There are even different kinds of antibodies that have slightly different jobs. The helper T cells tell the plasma cells which type of needed to be most in the particular invasion. Millions of them flood the blood and structure the body. Meanwhile, the site of infection, the situation is getting rarer. The intruders have multiplied in number and start hurting the body. Garden attack cells fight hard but also die in the process. Helper T cells support them by ordering them to be more active to stay alive longer. But without help, they cannot overwhelm the bacteria. Now the second line of the defense arrives. Billions of antibodies flood and battlefield and disable lots of the intruders, rendering them helpless or killing them in the process. They also stun on bacteria and make them an easy target. The battlefield to connect the killer cells that can connect and kill the enemy more easily. Phrases are especially good and heated up and bacteria of which antibodies have attached to. Now the balance shifts. In a team effort, the infection is wiped out. At this point, millions of body cells have already died. No big deal, the losses are quickly replenished. Most immune cells are now useless and without constitution signals, they commit suicide so as not to waste any resources. But some stay behind, the memory cells. If the enemy is encountered and even again in future, they'll be ready and for it and probably kill it before you even notice. It was the very explanation of the parts of immune system at work. Can you imagine how complex this immune system is even at the level we ignore most players and all the chemistry? That's all for complicated and we take to understand it will integrate the Indian wonders and great beauty. Thanks for watching this video.